Hello and welcome back. This is video number 5, and in this video we're going to talk about how to kill two birds with one stone. So this phrase or saying is basically focusing on one thing that will allow you to save time and allow you to essentially achieve the goal of two things, which in this case is social proof and, second of all, engagement. Okay, so we talked briefly about earlier that the social proof aspect is just the likes, right? But it's not just the likes, it's also the content, right? The second thing, which is engagement, can only be achieved if you drive targeted likes or targeted visitors, right? So essentially this video is all about the conversion factor, because in the previous video, we talked about how to go about creating content within less than 5 minutes, which are basically images with quotes on them, right? So how do we create or get images that resonate with your targeted audience, and how do we figure that out? A lot of cases, a lot of times we think, oh, we know that. We know our audience pretty well, and we'll just pick and choose some images. But that's the wrong mindset to have, because just because we think that is the case, or we think that's what they would like, it's not always the case. So what you need to do is you need to figure out several different images that might be similar but slightly different. For example, for this fan page, we have a dog, a picture of a dog. We know the demographic is mainly women, and these particular women may like dogs. So we have a cute dog here, and then of course, a day without laughter is a day wasted, Nicholas Chamfont. So that's a quote that sort of ties into the cute puppy. So it's saying that you need to laugh every single day, and this looks kind of funny, all right? So that's one image that we could test. Another image that we could test would be something similar, maybe another dog, but with a different quote. So that's what we did in this case. Now, this was actually just uploaded recently, so you can see it's only got 82 people reached. But this one here is a picture of another dog with some quote that says, "Kindness is the best key to open the locked door of every heart." So this is a little bit more sentimental. It's not more laughter, but we can see that it's got 258 people reached and 11 engagements versus the other one that had no engagements at all. So we haven't even run ads yet, but if we do run ads, then we can test these two up against each other and see which actually converts. Now, in terms of images, what I recommend is whatever your niche is, whatever your market is, try to test different images ranging from different things that relate directly to the product and service that you're selling, or things that are unrelated, or things that make people laugh, make people feel good inside, kind of thing. And just test it out and see which one gets the most engagement. And that's all we're trying to figure out right now, because in terms of setting up the ad campaign, the ad set level, and the ad, that's what I'm going to teach you in the next 3 videos. So for now, it's just a matter of gathering images that you think would convert. And then by the next 3 videos, you'll see whether or not they will convert or not based on the tier 3 country traffic. So that is going to allow us to test images by only spending literally $10, $20, $30, or even $50 versus testing it against a tier 1 country initially and spending hundreds or even thousands of dollars before you even figure out what actually works. So that's what I want you to do for now, is just do that. Now, I want you to go to different sites. There's several sites out there that will provide you with these kind of royalty-free images. Get Stencil was one of them. But if you don't see anything that you don't like on Get Stencil, there are actually other sites out there. Okay, so there are 2 websites that we use for almost the last decade. And the first one is Big Stock Photo. That's bigstockphoto.com, as you can see here. They have really good images, and it does cost money, obviously. Another one is called graphicriver.net. And if you go here, you can actually go to photos and you'll find photos for about $2. Now, if you're low on money and you want something for free, then there's another site called pixabay.com. And you can go there, you can sign up, and you can find a lot of really good royalty-free free images that allow for commercial use. And as you can see, it looks just as good. There's just a more of a limited variety compared to that of like Big Stock Photo or even Graphic River. So now that you have an idea of what to do, which is gather the images, want you to pause the video, figure that out, and then in the next 3 videos, I'm going to show you how to actually set up your ads. Hello and welcome back. This is video number 6, and we're going to start the ad creation process right now. But before we do, what I've done here is in the next 3 videos is to break things down as simplistic as possible, especially for those of you who have never run a Facebook ad, or you have and it just looks very complex. So in this video, we're going to talk about campaigns. In the next video, we're going to talk about ad sets. And then of course, video number 8, we'll talk about ads. Now the ads, let's go ahead and click create and I'll explain the structure. So go ahead and click create here. Okay, so now we've brought to a campaign. So here's basically how it works. A campaign, think of it like a folder on your computer or a physical folder or whatever. That's just a big folder. And then within that folder, you have many different folders. Or think of it like this. This is a filing cabinet. And then within the filing cabinet, you have many different folders. And then within each folder, you have many different ads, right? So it's just a way to kind of categorize things. So in this case, our goal is to get more page likes, right? So that's an engagement factor. So we are going to specify and tell Facebook, hey, we want to create a campaign and our objective is to get more likes. That's all. And I'll discuss more about these in the future videos. For now, let's just focus on campaign. So it says, go ahead and choose your objective. So in this case, it's going to be under engagement. So you click that and then next, scroll down. And then Facebook now asks us, what kind of an engagement? Do you want a post engagement? Do you want page likes? Do you want event responses? All right, so in this case, it's page likes. We're going to click that here, and you can name the campaign name here. So what I recommend is whenever you create an ad, to make sure to kind of create a system of your campaign names, because when you begin to create more campaigns, it'll just get confusing. So you could insert things like maybe who you're targeting or what it is. So engagement likes. You could do X fan page, whatever fan page that is, and we can do page likes. That way we know what we're dealing with. So if we're looking through our campaigns and we look at the names of the campaigns, instead of having to go in and try to figure out what it is, you can figure out it all off the bat. Next thing is create split tests. We're going to totally ignore that. We're not interested in that. You can do that later if you want to, but you want to try to simplify things as much as possible. Now, campaign budget optimization. What is that? According to Facebook, it's a system and it's an algorithm that will basically distribute your budget across different ad sets to get more results. And basically you're using their AI or artificial intelligence to figure out, okay, which of these ad sets are converting, and then let's focus on those ad sets. Now, bear in mind with campaign budget optimization, in order for it to work effectively, you will need to increase your daily budget. So right now they say $125, but we recommend probably $10, $20 just to get started right off the bat. Now you can start with $5 if you want to and test how it works. But with the way campaign budget optimization works is it's trying to analyze different campaigns. And in order for you to get enough data, you have to run some money through each and every one of those ad sets, if that makes sense. So let's say the system has to run it through at least a couple thousand people before it can get the right data. But the way you have to think of it like this: with paid ads, it's all about buying the data. It's not about winning out of the gate. But fortunately, with this strategy here, you can lower your costs. Okay, so at this point, we're just going to say $10 daily budget. Now, you can specify lifetime budget if you want to, but we like to stick with daily budget. The campaign bid strategy, lowest cost, lowest cap. We usually stick with lowest costs and click continue. Okay, so at this point, we are at the ad set level. So I'm going to stop here and pause a minute. And what I highly recommend that you do is try to follow along. Try to create a campaign, choose the engagement, choose page likes, and get to this point. All right, so let's move on to the next video. Hello and welcome back. This is video number 7. We're going to talk about how to set up your ad sets. Now, we talked about campaigns briefly before. Ad sets, however, allow you to target specific groups, their locations, their countries, different audiences, their likes, their interests, the budget. You can specify that as well. So when you create different ad sets, you want to make sure that you create a different ad set for a different location. So you don't want to create an ad set with tons and tons of countries together, unless they are perhaps the third world countries. But for the most part, what we like to do is we like to segment and try to create as many different ad sets as possible. That way we kind of get more of a granular view of what's actually converting into page likes. So if we find out that maybe a specific city in a specific country is converting really, really well, then instead of targeting the whole country and losing money that way, you can instead target that specific city. And then your cost will actually drop because the engagement increases, right? So just keep that in mind when you create your ad sets. Now, Facebook is going to ask, what page would you like to promote? So in this case, you want to just click on that and specify that. And if we scroll down, the next section is audience. So we have custom audiences. So unless you are aware of what this is, just ignore it. But basically, custom audiences are, think of lists or email lists, basically, of people that have visited a certain page and hit your pixel. So if you do have a custom audience, you can enter that here. Now, for now, just ignore this. So if we scroll down further, it says location. So people who live in this location, everyone in this location, people recently in this location, or people traveling in this location. So that gives you a better idea of who to target. So if your product or service relates more to these, you may want to choose those. In this case, we always choose people who live in this location. A lot of times it will choose your country by default. So we're just going to click X here and it's going to say missing audience location. Now, in this case, we want to target the third world countries. So we've got Bangladesh here. And another thing that you have access to is regions. So if you click on browse, what Facebook will do is it'll list out regions. So we've got free trade areas, emerging markets, app store regions, the Europe area. So free trade, we can go to Asia down here. So Asia down here encompasses Australia, Brunei, Hong Kong. So these are actually what we call, some of these are actually tier 1. So we don't want to do that off the bat because that will just increase our costs. So what we like to do is, if you're not aware of what country to target, You can actually simply go to google.com, type in the keyword term list of third world countries, and scroll down and just try to look for it. So it says world third world countries 2019. Now obviously this most likely is going to stay the same throughout the next few decades. But if we go back over here, okay, so I scrolled down the page and I found a list of third world countries. So we can see a list, we can see the population here. So what we could do is we could sort by population. So as you can see, I mentioned Bangladesh because Bangladesh actually works fairly well in our past campaigns. So we've got that, we've got Ethiopia, we got Congo, Tanzania, Myanmar is another one. Let's see, Myanmar. Okay, so when we go back here, we can type in that country and we just click it like that. Now, I want you to know that some countries may not exist. So you might type in some and think, okay, where is it? It's because some of them just don't have access to Facebook at all, or Facebook hasn't been allowed into that territory yet. Now, if you don't want to enter them one by one, you can create a list of them and then enter them and copy and paste them in here by clicking add locations in bulk and going through that process. Next, we have age and gender. Generally speaking, you want to choose something broad. You always want to start out broad and then get narrow later down the road, unless you've done tests before and you know that the age range is a specific group, because otherwise you might be ruling out people who may be within an age range that you're not targeting. That is actually going to be a highly engaged audience. So we're going to leave that as it is. Now, languages. Because we are targeting third world countries, we know that a lot of them speak English, but some of them might be getting on Facebook and they may not speak English. So if that's the case, they're going to see your ad and you're going to pay money to someone who you're essentially not going to be able to communicate to. So we enter English here. Next up, we have detailed targeting. This is very important as well because this will allow you to target on a granular level as to what people's interests are. Now, if you're not familiar with how Facebook interests works, this is basically how it works. So Facebook has what we call a Facebook tracking pixel. And these are pixels that are placed by website owners like us on our websites. And whenever somebody visits those pages, they are then pixeled, or Facebook sees them and they see them visiting, let's say, a barbecue website. So the people that you're targeting are actually interested in that particular interest. So there's different things you can target. You can target, we'll just type in motivational. So you can see motivational quotes here. So that's one. Now, if you type that in again, motivational quotes, sometimes it'll give you suggestions and you can click suggestions and it'll give you a list of other similar interests that are directly related to this particular interest. And you can pick and choose those. Now, I want to say when it comes time to analyzing your data, Facebook will actually tell you where the Facebook page likes come from and based on what targeting. So even if you have several in here, it's okay. Next up, you can specify people of specific Facebook pages, or you can exclude people of that particular page. Next up, we have automatic placements. In other words, where do you want Facebook to show your ads to the right people? So automatic placements, what that means is Facebook will use their artificial intelligence to place your ads. If you click edit placements, you can then specify which places you want your ads to appear. So you can do all devices, which is highly recommended if you're starting out and you don't know just yet. It's better to start general than more specific, because if you start specific, you can't go backwards. It's kind of like taking an image and then making it small and cropping it and decreasing the size and just trying to get back to the bigger size. It doesn't work that way. So you got to start general and then move to specific. So just to keep things simplistic, we usually choose automatic placements because we're utilizing Facebook's extremely smart artificial intelligence. Okay, so we got optimization and spending controls. Usually just keep everything by default and click continue. And that's it. So that's all there is in terms of setting up an ad set. Now we can create an ad, which is the images, the content that you want to essentially put against each other and figure out what is actually converting. All right, we'll see you in that. Hello and welcome back. This is video number 8, and we're going to talk about how to create an ad. So if you've reached this far, just want to say congratulations, you're almost done. All you need to do is get the images that we discussed earlier and upload them here. Now, because our strategy is to get both social proof, the page likes, and the engagement, which is getting people to interact with your Facebook fan page, not just the likes, because when somebody comes to your page, the likes are the initial attraction, and then seeing people actually interacting with your fan page is the next step. So to do that, what you need to do is when you go to the ad, you can either create a new ad and insert images here, or you can use an existing post. So what you want to do is you want to use an existing post for the majority of time, simply because you want to drive people to that specific post. You want people to interact, and it's a two bird with one stone. So in this case, you're not just driving people to an ad that is not on your Facebook fan page, but you're instead driving people to a post that is on your page. So you're getting the engagement, you're getting the likes. And the more money you put into it and the lesser you spend in terms of the likes, that will actually help you double or triple the social engagement. Now, you can also create an ad just to test different images as well separately from your post by simply adding the images here, and then down here, adding the text and adding the links. Now, remember, because we are simply sending people to images with quotes on them, the text that you might want to add is something like this, like, hey, if you like a specific hobby, then our community is filled with people just like you, and you're welcome to join. So something of that nature, non-threatening, non-direct. It builds a little bit curiosity and gets them to like. That's the goal, is not to include too much information, but just enough to get people to come, interact, and like your page. Now, what's nice about Facebook is when you enter a bunch of ads. So let's say we enter 5 different images or 4 different images. So we can test 2 to 2 against each other. If we got 4 images, 4 texts, 4 links, what Facebook will do is it'll actually rotate them. So essentially you don't want to have too many, because in order to really test them, you're going to need to push a lot of money inside. So what you might want to start out with is 4 images or 2 images or 4, between that range, 2 to 4, 2, 3, 4. And then maybe a couple text, 1 or 2 texts, and then maybe 2 different links. And then let Facebook's artificial intelligence test things out and actually figure out which is actually converting, and then go from there. Once you figured out what is converting, let's say out of the different ads of 4 different images, let's say you got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 2 of them are doing really well, but then 2 of them are costing $1 a like. In those other 2 cases, if you're getting enough traction from the other 2, you should go ahead and pause those just to see what happens. Now, you want to run them at least for 48 to 72 hours so that you allow Facebook's algorithm to adjust. Because a lot of times you're not going to see results immediately. Sometimes you will, but different scenarios are going to be different. So that's pretty much it. So as a recap, add the images here, add the text, add the links, click continue, and then your Facebook ad will get approved. Now bear in mind that if you're beginning and you're just getting started, it's going to take a lot longer to get approved. But as you get more likes, like your likes go up to 10 or 20,000, and you begin to run more ads and you spend more money, then your reputation will go up and then your ads will get approved. Now, that's not a guarantee because no one really officially knows, but this is just based on tests. All right, so I hope you enjoyed that. Just keep it simple and apply it, and there you go.